statements you make today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. And you indicated on your petition, which was filed March 1st, that you were currently living on Tarkington Road in Stone Mountain, DeKalb County with Mr. Jennings at the time you filed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I see that you have not checked any other boxes on this form. What was the nature of the two of you residing together?
We were boyfriend and girlfriends.
Okay. And approximately, can you estimate from when to when that was true?
How long we've been together?
Yes.
Since 2019 until this year, 2023.
Okay. And for that, how long were you two living together?
2 years.
All right. And the place that you two resided together, was that a place that the two of you rented or owned?
No, I rented the property.
And then he would stay there with you at times?
Mhm.
Okay. So in a given month, like let's say February, for example, how much of the month would you say that he would sleep at your residence versus somewhere else?
Out of 30 days, probably about 28.
Okay. So almost always,
Mhm.
certainly more often than not.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, you describe an event from late February that resulted in his arrest. Do you know, actually, let me ask this before we get into that. Do you know who the owner of the property is?
My property?
Okay, it's like a company.
Oh, yes, it is a company. Mhm.
Okay. Um, and so you said there was an incident that resulted in his arrest?
Yes, he had a warrant out for his arrest that I wasn't aware of. When I called the cops, they were able to tell me that it was similar in context to my situation at the time.
Okay, so he was arrested not for things that he did with you or to you, but it was an outstanding warrant when the police responded.
Yes.
Understood. Okay. And so tell me what was going on that led to you calling the police that night.
So it's been an ongoing thing between Joshua and me. Joshua has a thing to put his hands on me when he feels like he can't get his point across, or I'm arguing with him. So that particular day when I called the cop prior to this, they told me that if I don't feel safe to continue to call them because I work from home. He was shouting at me, calling me out my name, telling me what he was not going to tolerate and etc. because I didn't want him to sleep in my room anymore. I was sleeping downstairs on my sofa for a little while, and he was upstairs in my room. And I told him that he needed to just go over to the next room since we're not together. He was not going for that. So that's why I called the police.
Okay. At any point, did he make any verbal threats to harm you?
He has done so prior.
When was the
Couple of
last
months.
time you would say that that happened?
I can't quite remember right now, but I know prior to me calling the police that particular time when he got locked up, it was 2 Mondays before that. I had called the cops and he told me to put the phone down. He was going to punch me in my face. And my aunt was on the phone.
All right. And has he ever been physically violent with you, hitting, pushing,
Yes.
kicking, shoving?
Yes, he has.
When was the last time something like that happened?
That particular time, it was last year around September, July sometime. I caught him with a girl. We came back to the house. He was upset. We proceeded to argue. Then I was running back to my car and he grabbed me by my hair and started punching me in my head. And then days later, he told me the reason why he punched me in my head is so that I wouldn't have any evidence.
All right. And Have there been any incidents where he has damaged your property or personal belongings or the
Yes,
residence?
yes. So he had punched a hole in the wall. Prior, I have a couple of holes in my walls from him kicking the wall before punching the wall. I send the pictures to the court.
All right. We'll see if those have been received and processed here in a bit. In the meantime, Mr. Jennings, I've sent you a prompt to unmute. Do you have any questions that you think the court should ask this witness before we continue with the proceeding?
I just had wanted to ask that she said that I was punching and kicking holes in the wall. Those holes that was in the wall was due to me falling on the steps. Like we got some steps right there, and
Well,
fell.
I can take that as part of your statement when it's your turn to make your statement if you choose to testify. But do you have any questions for her before we get to that?
Okay. As far as the questions, like I rather just tell my side because I don't really know like what to question. But I know for one thing, I was never abusive, and like all of this is for her to try to
Well, let me see if Madam Clerk has whatever was submitted. Ms. Broom, were you able to receive that?
Yes, Judge, you're ready to see it.
Yes, if you can screen share it. All right, and I'll ask this. I didn't look to see how many photographs it was. Have any of these photos been altered or changed in any way, like photoshopped or anything like that?
okay, now
Hang on, sir. We're back with her. Now you'll have a chance to ask questions or make statements about it as well, but there are things I have to ask her before we're allowed to move through this.
okay.
So ma'am, are all these photos that you took?
Yes, sir.
Have any of the photos been altered in any way?
No, sir.
And are they fair and accurate depictions of the contents of the photos?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is this photo a picture of?
That's my room door. He was trying to break in my room after all his stuff was already out. He was trying to get in my room when I left the house. And that was the pictures that I took that particular day.
So this is an interior door, and that was the door to your bedroom.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Madam Clerk, what's next? All right. Okay, so this is the door that goes with the door frame that we just looked at. Okay.
Yes, that's the hallway that he put that hole in the wall.
Okay, how did he do that?
He said that he slipped and fell. We had an argument prior to that. So that was the result of that.
Okay, so you weren't there when you weren't in the room when the hole was made, for example, you were there to see it after.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know if you were in the home when it happened?
Yes.
Okay, did you hear it when it happened?
Yes, I heard a bang, but I didn't know. I said, "What was that?" And nobody answered. And then the next day when I came downstairs, I saw the hole in the wall, and he told me he was going to fix it.
All right. We can move on. All right, and is this an exterior door?
Yes, sir. That's my door to coming into my foyer.
Okay. And how was the damage to the frame done?
He was trying to kick the door in because I locked the door. He slept out that night. So I closed the door because I have a 9-year-old. So I have a thing to close my doors all the way. I didn't come to the door fast enough, so he decided to kick it in.
Okay. And when this happened, did the door stay on the hinges or did it come off?
The door is still, but that's what I have to replace that because now that has a crack in it.
All right. What's next? This one's a little bit blurry. What are we looking at in this photo?
Yes, it's another hole that he claimed he slipped and fell. I don't know how. I really don't know, but that's a hole that he put into my wall. And again, he apologized and he would fix it.
Okay, and we've seen, Madam Clerk, how many more are there? Looks like we're pretty close to the end.
Yes, we just have one more.
Okay. All right. And what about this one?
That's a question for Joshua. He created that hole and I don't know how. That's at the side of was upstairs in that room that he was in, that third room.
All right. What would you estimate the range of time was that these various types of damage were committed?
They were not close. That the last big one, that one was the most recent one.
Okay,
But
so are these photos all things that happened within the past 6 months, the past year, the past 2 years?
Past year, I'll say, past year. They
Okay.
were close in proximity, not too far apart.
All right. Very good. So, sir, do you have any? I understand you've got testimony to offer as to how certain things in these pictures happened. Some of those things, it sounds like you already told her at the time. Do you have any questions now that you've had a chance to see those pictures?
Well, I just have to question her and ask her that is it true that hole on the side of the wall didn't happen from me stumbling, and I stumbled because I'm very clumsy and I have like a problem with my balance, so I stumbled and my elbow hit the wall, and she was aware of that. And
So let me ask this, because you said you started with "Isn't it true," which is a very good way from an attorney's skills set up to handle a question, and then you said she's aware. Was she there when? And I'm going to use the term damage. We all agree it's a photo of damage, I think. Was she there when whatever happened?
I don't. Matter of fact, she was not even there. She wasn't even there. I was there. It was me and my little brother, and I believe it was probably her son probably was there, but she wasn't there.
She acknowledged for a bit of it that she wasn't there when it happened, and she saw some of the damage she saw later. She said that when she was showing the pictures in the first place. So to summarize her version of it, it was basically, well, that was his story, but it came right after an argument, so I think he did it on purpose, is essentially what that boils down to. So
it's not true. It was the accident by me coming up the stairs, and I stumbled, and my left shoulder bumped into the side of the wall exterior, and it was a complete mistake, a complete and honest mistake. And I even tried to go beyond and fix it because
let me stop here. Hang on, because we gotta. Ma'am, did you have any other witnesses you intended to call?
My aunt, she didn't want to be involved because she didn't want to be retaliated. That's why I'm not even staying at her house. I can't stay there because she's afraid. She lives by herself.
Okay, so
Judge, I do apologize, but we also have a video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you can pull that up. And ma'am, when about is this video from?
Right after I got the restraining order, it wasn't served to him yet, but he came to the house prior. And he came like 2 hours before, and he said he needed to come and get some stuff. He hadn't been there, so I bolt my door. He came to the door, I let him in. I told him, I said, it's not even, you don't need to be here. I said, we don't need to be here at the same time. I said, I can let you know when I'm not here and you can come. He was like, I just need to grab some stuff. I said, okay, fine. I let him in the house. He went to his room to get some stuff. He left. He came back with a thing on his head, clutching his gun and a tank top.
So I can watch the video and see that, but what I'm trying to figure out is an approximate date. Was this about a month ago, about a year ago?
It's 2 days after my restraining order. So it was like somewhere around the
8th or 9th of March?
Of March, 2023.
Okay, and do you know if he had been served at that point?
He wasn't served yet, because when he came back to the house, that's when he was served the next time around.
Okay, So let's see if Madam Clerk can play that video and screen share it.
Let's keep locking the door.
Peaceful and calm.
Hi. We'll be right there.
Why you keep coming in and out?
I just had to come grab some. I forgot something. Hey, you see my blue dog?
What would I be doing with your food gun?
I'll let you get like $50, $60.
I don't want nothing. I'm good.
Stop acting like
Joshua,
that.
I am fine.
What's wrong? Why you acting?
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, sir, did you have any questions about that video?
Yeah, I do have a question. She said that I went and came and got the gun. I just wanted to ask her, did I do anything threatening to her or pose a threat or in any form or nature or fashion, or was I just strictly there to get my things and leave?
All right, did he make any threats or do anything that made you concerned for your safety while he was there that time?
No, but the fact that he even came back with a gun, he didn't have the gun the first time he came, Judge. It was a video before that when he first came in. He came with a backpack on his back. He came in a red shirt. He said he needed to get some stuff. I let him in. It was no reason for him to come back having a tank top on with a gun. It was no reason for that. It was me and my son in the house. And the first thing he did that you guys couldn't see was when he went upstairs, he looked in my room, almost like he's looking for something. He was looking in my room, and my mom told me, he said the reason why he came back with the gun was just in case I had somebody in the house. So he was looking for
Not an appropriate response, sir. We're here for a court proceeding. You can disagree with the testimony all you want, but we're not going to do this way. Now, when you come here, you're acting as your own attorney. And so to that extent, I'm going to use the word professional. You're expected to be professional, and that means being an adult about stuff that you already knew you weren't going to agree with. So, all right. So with that, I believe the petitioner has rested. Mr. Jennings, you have a choice to present evidence or not present evidence. And in doing so, understand that if you take the stand and testify, you will be subject to questioning under oath and required to answer those questions as well. So you can unmute for me, and if you wish to testify, you can raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you swear the statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can put your hand down. Thank you. Now, what all right, you've had a chance to hear the evidence in this case. What would you like to tell us today?
Okay, so I would first off like to say we moved in the house together. We've been staying in the house for 2.5 years or longer. And when I say we moved in together, I mean moved the stuff out the truck, moved in on the same day. Now, when it comes down to the arrest situation, it had nothing to do with that, and she was completely aware that it didn't have anything to do with that. And in actuality, she threw a chair at me that day, and the police asked me, did I want to press charges on her for assaulting me? And I said no. But just so happened I had a warrant for something that was pre-existing. That's why I was locked up. So for her to forge that statement and say that I was arrested for assaulting her was completely fabricated, as well as her saying that I was being irrational and putting holes and stuff in the wall, because if I was putting holes and stuff in the wall out of anger, it wouldn't be no big old size holes, and then she would be seeing them because I would be angry with her. So it was just clear mistakes. We've been staying there for 2.5 years. Things happen. I bumped into the wall and stuff like that. And as far as the front door goes, it wasn't from me kicking the door. It was from, I'm not even sure exactly where that came from, but she should have the video of me kicking that door. And another thing is, this is exactly what it boils down to. Me and her had our differences, right? I agree with that. So she told me that she didn't want to accept my rent money anymore. I said, okay, that's fine. She chose to call the police on me. When the police was called, if I was doing anything threatening, abusive, I would have went to jail that night for that. So I went to jail. Once I went to jail, I came home. About 2 days later, as soon as I came home, I said nothing wrong to her. I laid down. On the point of me laying down, she came. She works downstairs, so I was still laying down on the couch downstairs because she ended up locking the room, which we do share, which we did share together. And that little piece that you seen inside of the door, that's from me and her locking ourselves out of the room, having to pry ourselves to get back in the room over a period of time. So that's where that stands at. And let me see here. And as far as that other video that she just sent in, and with the gun situation, that as you seen in the video, I was threatening in no way, form, sense, or fashion. I knocked on the door, said, "Hey, I'm just here to get something," and came and got what I needed to get. And I asked her, because she took my food stamp card from me. I said, do you have my food stamp card? She said, no. And I was like, well, I'll give you $50. She said she don't need them. I said, okay, bye, I'm leaving. I walked right out of the door, not a one threat, not nothing, because what I had realized is that she was just trying to assassinate my character and try to force this TPO on me, only for the reason not of her being threatening for her life, but she's trying to force the TPO on me as a matter of avoiding to legally evict me. And I was going through the precautions and doing things the right way by giving things time. That's why I end up going to the house, and I have pictures of this. I tried to go there when she left, so I wouldn't have to see her. So she put this big old cross in the middle of the floor and black magic and all this type of stuff. So, and then salt in front of her door, salt in front of the other door, and the crosses and all of this stuff. And to me, that made me extremely uncomfortable. So I left. And I gathered some of my things and I left at that point. So that was my clear point for me to just be like, well, maybe she needs some time. So only reason I will return was to gain some of my items. Like I was legally obliged to, being that I was a tenant there for 2 or 3 years. And just because a person is mad at me, that doesn't mean that they can just automatically just say, oh yeah, you can't be here anymore, because during that time frame, she has cut off my cell phone, and that has allowed me access to handle my business. I have all my work equipment and stuff there that I could not carry on my back. So she prevented me from doing that. And I've been it really put me in a really bad situation, because all of my eggs were tied up into that home and into her. So during this time frame, it's like I haven't had no assistance. I haven't had anything. It was just basically like she just abused her right. And clearly she just told you that the arrest wasn't true. But if it wasn't true, why would you write it down on federal documentation and try to get it filed as something that was true? And she held her hand to perjury for that. So all I want to do at this point is this. I understand our relationship had its ups and downs, but all I want to do is be allowed the amount of time as a tenant, as a person, as a human being, and to be allowed the amount of time so I can rightfully gain my stuff and get my stuff out of there, and then I will move on, because I'm not being a threat to her as to the point where she has to get a TPO and I have to deal with all of the extra backlash from that, because I'm not doing those things. Because if it would have been so in that video, you would have seen me saying, hey, I'm going to do something damaging to you. If you can listen to every word on that video, I was calm and cool and collective. I was just coming to grab my things and leaving, because I knew she didn't want me to be there. Even though I had the right to be there, I just wanted to avoid the confusion. So every time when I got home from jail, she would just call the police for no reason, like no argument or anything. She would call the police, and then I'm like, what did I do? And she would have no answer. And she would just be like, oh, I'm just gonna call him. I'm just gonna call him just because I need to call him. So I left again. The third time I came back with my mother just to try to ease the situation, so she wouldn't try to say that I was doing anything wrong or trying to threaten her. And when my mother was there, I was there for one thing. Hey, I'm coming to get a couple of items and I'm gonna leave. I respect your household. I respect that you do have a son here. Like, even though I have a right as a tenant, I respect your wishes. I just want to be treated as fairly as possible, because I felt like that was like extremely unfair when she felt that she couldn't put me out because of the 30-day rule. So she decided to go beyond it and put in a TPO, and a TPO is supposed to be for current information, not information that happened 2-3 years ago that she has no record of, that is plainly she's just making up just to try to pad her situation. And she's just really just trying to make it hard for me as a person, because I'm not a messed up person. I'm not a liar. I'm straight up and straightforward. I don't try to, if I felt like I was wrong in this situation and I felt like I was really a threat to her, I would man up to the situation and clearly be like, okay, well, I done what I done, and I would accept my consequences. But I'm not going to sit there and lay down and let someone make some complete false accusations against me and agree with fabricated information.
So what happened to the firearm?
I end up selling it.
So you sold it within the last 3 weeks?
No, sir. I see. This is what happened though. It was about the day before or 2 days before she called the police and before I got served.
Hang on, let me make sure I'm not making a mistake. I thought that video we were watching was from like March 7th. Did I read the little date in the corner wrong?
I'm not sure, but ever since I've been served, I have not been at that house, and that's when
No, hang on, because that March 7th would have been before you were served. So was that video that we watched together about 3 weeks ago?
I believe so, but it was before I was served, most definitely.
Right. Yeah, we all agree about that you were not served until later.
Right.
So what happened to the gun from that video?
I end up selling it because I needed, like, all of my items that I have washers and dryers, TVs, countless electronics, countless things that's worth valuable money. And I was out here on the street with nowhere to go, with all my food gone, with no way to access my food. So I had to sell my items to salvage it. So I've been living pillar to post right now. I had to get rid of it.
Okay. And so who'd you sell it to?
I sold it to a friend of mine.
Okay. Who is that?
My friend, his name is Jerry.
Jerry.
I don't really know his last name like that, but I just sold it to him for, I think it was about $800 or something like that.
All right. I don't see anyone else in the waiting room, so I don't believe you have any other witnesses that you intended to call. Is that correct?
I mean, I could get my mother on. I could get my mother on the call, but honestly, when it comes down to due to the firearms and stuff, like it is legal. The one that I did have, it was legal in my name to be able to carry that firearm, and I wasn't doing any illegal act with it. I wasn't doing any threatening measure with it or anything, because the video says it all. And had I been served before that, you would have never seen me even attempt to go get it or anything like that. It just so happened that I had got it before that the serve thing was apart and invalid, because I didn't even know how the TPO thing worked. I have never been in this type of situation. Like,
well, that doesn't mean anything. I'll tell you that right now. You were given what you were supposed to be given based on the documents that were filed with the court, and that's the extent of their obligation. Their job is not to explain it to you, because then they would be giving you legal advice, and that would make them your lawyer, which the sheriff is not.
No, but he told me a fair amount of things of what I could do or what I couldn't do. So I totally obliged by that. I went by, did everything that he said for me to do. I don't have anything on me or available to me because of the rights of the order. I try to do everything right, because I know when it came down to this situation that I had to be straight up and honest. I can't come in this situation lying, trying to pull blankets and sheets over people's eyes, because at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. And honestly, this entire situation, it really arose from me and her having our differences about another female calling her phone, and she ended up trying to entertain her. And by her doing that, she came at me with all the aggression, with all of the testosterone and smoking stuff, and me being the person I am, I'm like, I'm not gonna entertain it because I know you call the police, and if I entertain it and I do something or respond in an inappropriate type of way, they're gonna lock me up. So that's just what it is. And it's not the fact that she's threatening for her life. I've been there with her and her son for 2.5 years. We stayed together, we traveled together, we did a lot of things together. So it's not what she's claiming that it is. It's just that, you know, women get into I guess a bitter state of mind where they try to do certain things. And then put it like this, she was aware that she had to evict me, right? So her way to get beyond and beside the eviction process was to put out this TPO, which definitely made the eviction process
Right. You've made that argument earlier, so I think at this point we're covering ground we've already covered. So here's what I can say as it relates to this case. Some of the things that you're saying reveal a certain understanding of the system, and then sometimes those understandings go into areas that are incomplete or incorrect. She doesn't have to be afraid for her life to justify the issuance of a protective order. The questions that I'm tasked with answering in this hearing are, do I have jurisdiction over the case? Yes, you two lived together in DeKalb County at the time this was filed. Have there been acts of family violence committed, and might this order make those acts less likely to reoccur in the future? And by your own statement, you have tacitly admitted that some of these things occurred. You just say that they are older and not present, and that this is all a pretext to evict you from the property. But what it leaves out of this is the admission that those things have occurred. Now, she has presented a number of photographs, many of which you've taken issue with the nature of the damage that is displayed in the photographs. And even beyond that, she testified to acts of physical violence, of being struck, that have happened over the course of this time period. And what I will say is that even if those acts are old, the likelihood of those acts reoccurring in a situation where the two of you share the same space and a relationship has failed goes through the roof. And so the risk is absolutely there. And so it is more than sufficient in a civil proceeding, which is where we are right now, for the issuance of this order. And so that's what I'm going to do. It will be a 12-month order that automatically expires March 27th, 2024. Ms. Sturridge, if anything should happen that you need to file to make this order permanent, understand that there is a process for that. It starts with the filing of a motion, the service of that motion on him, and a hearing before the court. And all of those things theoretically should happen prior to the order expiring in March 27th, 2024. Typically, when you file those motions, you will need to explain to the court what things have happened since the issuance of the order that make you concerned for your safety or your family's safety and merit that extension. It's not just, I want the order extended, please extend it. And that's a bit of an oversimplification, but it's a guideline that you can kind of file away if that helps. So the order will require that Mr. Jennings stay away from you and from your home or work or school, and from any children's home or work or school, and that he not contact you in any way, directly or indirectly, or through third parties, including phone calls, text messages, emails, in person or social media, or any other form of electronic communication. And the respondent will attend the Family Violence Intervention Program with a compliance date with Mr. Ellis that I believe was April 28th. So we're going to place the respondent in a breakout room to speak to Mr. Ellis now. And Ms. Sturridge, you are going to be free to log off.